Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. You open your phone, and suddenly every major crypto website is reporting the exact same headline. XRP has exploded overnight. The price is up. Trading volume has gone crazy. Everyone who ignored XRP is suddenly talking about it again. Sounds impossible? Maybe not, because something very unusual has been happening behind the scenes. While millions of retail investors are getting frustrated, some of the world's biggest financial players have been quietly increasing their exposure to XRP. Ripple continues expanding globally. Institutional interest hasn't disappeared. And despite all of that, the price still refuses to make the explosive move everyone has been waiting for. So what's really going on? Why isn't XRP reacting the way most investors expected? Is Wall Street manipulating the market? Are whales secretly selling every rally? Or is something much bigger happening that most people simply don't understand? Today, we're going to break down the real reasons behind XRP's slow price action. And trust me, the final answer may completely change the way you look at XRP. Let's start with one simple question. If you only looked at the headlines, you'd probably think XRP should already be trading much higher. Over the past few months, Ripple has continued expanding its payment network. The company has been pushing deeper into global markets. Institutional conversations around XRP have increased, and interest from professional investors has remained surprisingly strong. Normally, when this many positive developments happen around a cryptocurrency, the market responds almost immediately. We've seen it happen with Bitcoin. We've seen it happen with Ethereum. We've even seen it happen with much smaller cryptocurrencies. But XRP seems different. Every time people expect a massive breakout, the price moves, then slows down again. This has created one of the biggest debates in the crypto community. Some investors believe XRP is being artificially suppressed. Others say whales are simply taking profits before every rally. And some even believe institutions are deliberately keeping the price low while they continue accumulating. But before believing any of those theories, we need to look at the actual evidence, because the reality is much more interesting than the rumors. Here's something that most retail investors never think about. Professional money doesn't behave like retail money. When everyday investors get excited, they buy immediately. Fear of missing out takes over. Prices shoot higher. But institutions don't work that way. They don't chase green candles. They don't buy because of hype. They buy with patience. Sometimes they spend weeks or even months building a position without attracting attention. Why? Because if they bought everything at once, the price would explode before they finish buying. And that's the exact opposite of what large investors want. Their goal isn't to create hype. Their goal is to quietly accumulate as much as possible before everyone else realizes what's happening. Now here's the interesting part. Many market analysts believe that's exactly what could be happening with XRP today. And if they're right, then the quiet market we're seeing right now may actually be the calm before something much bigger. But that's only one piece of the puzzle, because there's another reason, a much bigger reason, why XRP behaves differently from almost every other major cryptocurrency. And once you understand it, everything starts making sense. Let's talk about that.
So, what makes XRP so different? The answer starts with something most people completely ignore: supply. Every time someone compares XRP to Bitcoin, they're comparing two completely different systems. Bitcoin has a maximum supply of just 21 million coins. That limited supply is one of the biggest reasons why demand can push the price so aggressively. Now compare that with XRP. Its total supply is dramatically larger. That means it takes much more buying pressure to create the same percentage move. This doesn't automatically make XRP a bad investment. It simply means the market behaves differently. And that's exactly where many new investors make a mistake. They expect XRP to move exactly like Bitcoin, but that's never how XRP was designed. Now let's talk about institutional money. You've probably heard people saying, institutions are buying XRP. But what does that actually mean? Well, large financial firms don't wake up one morning and spend billions of dollars in a single trade. If they did, the price would skyrocket instantly, and they'd end up paying much higher prices for the rest of their position. Instead, they use something called accumulation. They buy slowly, quietly, patiently, sometimes over weeks, sometimes over months. Their goal isn't excitement. Their goal is getting the best average price possible. That's why experienced investors often say, the smartest money is usually the quietest money. Now here's where things become even more interesting. Every time XRP starts moving higher, many early investors begin taking profits. Think about it. Thousands of people bought XRP years ago. Some have been holding since 2017. Others accumulated during the bear market. For these investors, every rally becomes an opportunity to lock in profits. So while new buyers are entering, some long-term holders are selling. This creates a constant battle between buyers and sellers. As long as both sides remain relatively balanced, the price struggles to explode. And that's exactly why price action can look frustrating, even when demand is increasing. But there's another factor hiding behind the scenes: liquidity. The crypto market has changed dramatically over the last few years. Professional trading firms now control a significant portion of daily volume. High-frequency trading algorithms, market makers, institutional liquidity providers, all of them play a role in keeping markets efficient. This means sudden emotional price spikes happen less often than they did during previous bull markets. Instead, markets often move in stages: accumulation, consolidation, expansion, then finally, breakout. And according to many analysts, XRP may still be somewhere between the accumulation and consolidation phases. Now here's the million-dollar question. If institutions are accumulating, if Ripple keeps expanding, and if adoption continues growing, what is the one event that could finally push XRP into its next major rally? That's exactly what we're about to uncover. Because the biggest catalyst for XRP may not be institutional buying at all. It could be something much bigger, something that has the potential to change the entire crypto market. Let's talk about that.
So, what could finally trigger XRP's next explosive move? The answer might surprise you, because many analysts believe the biggest catalyst isn't hype, it isn't social media, and it isn't even another Ripple partnership. It's regulatory clarity. For years, one of the biggest reasons institutions stayed away from crypto was uncertainty. Nobody wanted to invest billions into an asset if the legal rules could suddenly change overnight. But that situation is slowly changing. As governments begin creating clearer regulations for digital assets, large financial institutions are becoming more comfortable entering the market. And that's exactly why many investors are paying close attention to every major crypto regulation being discussed in the United States. Because clearer rules don't just help Ripple, they help the entire crypto industry. Now imagine this scenario. One large investment firm allocates a small percentage of its portfolio into XRP. Not billions, just a small percentage. Then another firm follows, then another, then pension funds, then asset managers, then international banks. Individually, none of these purchases may look dramatic, but together they create something incredibly powerful: consistent demand. And in financial markets, consistent demand often has a much bigger impact than temporary hype. This is exactly why experienced investors don't only watch today's price, they watch long-term adoption, because price follows adoption over time. Now let's address one of the biggest questions in the XRP community. Is someone intentionally keeping the price down? You'll see this theory everywhere on social media. Some people blame market makers, others blame exchanges, some even claim governments don't want XRP to succeed. The truth is, there's no solid evidence proving that XRP's price is being artificially suppressed. Markets are incredibly complex. Price moves because of thousands of buyers and sellers interacting every second. Yes, large players can influence short-term price action, but long-term trends are driven by supply, demand, liquidity, investor confidence, and adoption. Believing that every slow price movement is manipulation can distract investors from what actually matters. Instead of asking, who's keeping XRP down, a better question is, what would make demand permanently stronger than selling pressure? And that's the question smart investors focus on. Here's another mistake many people make. They expect life-changing gains overnight, but history tells a different story. Bitcoin spent years moving sideways before becoming one of the biggest financial assets in history. Ethereum also went through long periods where people believed it was finished. Even some of today's best-performing stocks spent months or even years doing almost nothing before breaking out. Financial markets reward patience far more often than excitement. That doesn't guarantee XRP will follow the same path. No one knows the future, but it does remind us that slow markets don't always stay slow forever. So, where does XRP stand today? Ripple continues expanding. Institutional interest remains alive. The crypto industry is moving toward greater regulatory clarity, and investors continue debating when the next major move will begin. Could XRP surprise everyone? Possibly. Could it take longer than people expect? That's also possible. The truth is, no one can predict the exact timing.
Anyone claiming they know exactly when XRP will hit a specific price is making a prediction, not stating a fact. What we do know is that the next chapter for XRP will likely depend on a combination of adoption, regulation, institutional demand, and overall crypto market conditions. Now I want to hear your opinion. Do you believe XRP is quietly preparing for its biggest breakout yet? Or do you think the market still needs one major catalyst before the real rally begins? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want daily XRP news, Ripple updates, and crypto market analysis explained in simple English, make sure you subscribe to Finance Watcher and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.